no brakes.
So hey, I'm gonna pull off this spark plug right now. I can already tell from here it's BR8ES. It's a little bit colder than I would run. I'd run the 7. Of course, the lower the number, the hotter it is. So the 8 for this is a bit too cold of a plug, I would think. Unless you're doing a lot of, some wide open racing, it'd probably be okay, but we're gonna pull that off. So I'm gonna go back here to my spark plugs here. You can see what I would run in this bike. BR7ES is what I'd use. These other spark plugs are for other things, but the BR7ES, it's a little bit hotter plug. Get a bike secondhand. It's always nice to find out, pull off the plug and find out what they're running, and find out what the gap on the plug is to get a baseline. So that you can imagine I don't know what their gap is going to be. So here's the plug that just came off of the bike. You can tell maybe you can tell it's a little bit wet on the end, and the gap is too big for this bike. I'm trying to hold it here. That gap is a little bit too big, and this plug is too cold for this engine as it is. So a little bit hotter plug will help out with the starting and running issue a little bit. 7ES, and I'm pretty sure that's what it calls for in the manual also. And this is the gap I run this at, 0.6 millimeter. So sometimes these guys will go a little bit higher of a number thinking they're getting the plug hotter, but it's backwards. They go down on number like a 6 or a 7 is going to be hotter than an 8 or a 9 on these plugs. So if you're already running cold, check your plug and go by what the your manual probably says, and then gap it right. Get your ratio, your fuel ratio and your spark plug gapped right, and you have a control. Then you can just go down the line if you're having running issues. Then you can work on your carburetor or something like that if you're not having an issue starting firing up. So I'm going to pull out this needle on this Mikuni, and I'm going to go to a 4375 on that needle. So I'm not sure what's in there, but the 4375 works good. They used to come with a stock needle that just tapered right off at the end and made more of a choppy response. If you just were wondering what oil I use this or the Maxima typically. The Klotz, the R50 or the Maxima. And I just run this like 50-to-1. So about 2.5 ounces of that for every gallon of gas. That's what I usually use. Also, if you ever mix your own gas, we mix our own gas for our chainsaws and everything. These little these ratio rights are awesome. I've had this for years. It just makes it very easy. Tells you how many gallons up on top and how many ounces of oil to use. Has a ratio right there. So we're working on the 2014 KTM with it's probably like a 2017, 2018 Mikuni carburetor. I'm going to change out these jets in here. Been riding it around. It's been riding pretty good, but the low jet or the idle jet seems like that's too big, and your main jet here seems like it is too small. The main jet is a 440. We're going to bump that main jet to a 470. I pinched off the overflow tube on the inside of this. We're going to put the idle jet at a 35 on the idle. So I'm in Michigan here, and the temperature is about 37 to 42 right now, give or take, the next couple days. So with a Mikuni carburetor, I'm going to go with a 470 on the main jet. So telling you guys all my business here. And some of you veterans can tell I just got this bike, but I have already worked on the Graham Jarvis mods for this. Like I said, I pinched off the tube. I drilled my holes in the drain plug there. Filed down the slide. So we're just working on a couple more things here and getting the jetting to where it needs to be at. So I'm not sure if you can see this here or not. I'm trying to get it on camera. The 470. This is the hex style jet. So when you're getting jets for your carburetor, just make sure you're getting the right jets. So this, I thought it was a 450. It was a 440 on this, and the 470. It just seemed like it wasn't getting any enough fuel in the top end. So we're moving that main jet to that 470 there. So I got a whole bag of jets here, and you can see right there, you can pull that drain bolt off, and there's the splash guard or whatnot. Hopefully you can see. Some of the veterans on these guys on the KTMs know that those holes are bigger than they're supposed to be, because that's part of that mod. But I mean, it turned out it's running pretty good. Just the jetting's off. So we're going to put that 470 up in there. Let's see if seemed like it was breaking up a little bit, and it would take a little bit longer than it should to come back down from high RPM. So we're just going to put that back up in there. It's hard to do all this and hold a camera. And we put the 35 in there already. So I'm in Michigan, and we're running the 470 and the 35 on this style, the newer style Mikuni. I don't know if you can see that now. There's a 470 now. I'll put a link to those main jets in the description, but you can see here, you don't have to necessarily have to pull out the slide, but I pulled out the slide just to make this job a little bit easier, give me a little bit more room. So we're just going to push this back down, level into place, and then put our slide back in. We got it all buttoned back up here, and we're gonna take it for a spin and see how it runs. Yeah, so just put that 470 main jet in there now. Doesn't seem like it's cutting out. Yeah, it's not cutting out at all when you hit that, get up in the RPMs. Before it seemed like it was bogging down, or like, you know, it wouldn't get back down to it wouldn't settle back down. But after you let off the gas, and also when you gave it gas, it wouldn't seem like it bogged down. So